Hello there, it's been a minute. I know I've missed you guys so much. Well, if you're here because you followed the story of Linda and her escapades at home, thank you for reading. Thank you for reading Why Linda Hates Holidays. And I'm sure you really want to find out what exactly was the conversation she had with Aunty Joy about. And in case you're wondering, Linda conversation, what is she talking about? Well, you need to go to my Instagram page to get the full gist. So check it out at like, share the story, and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't, because I would be doing stories like that weekly and posting videos that also go with it. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about handling family storms, which was one situation that Linda found herself in. And please note, today's video is going to focus on family storms within a nuclear family. Now, we have different family storms. We have the ones that arises from a polygamous home. We have the one that arises when, you have maybe a single parent. Let's say your parents are divorced and you're just staying with one of them. And I will do videos in the future concerning that, because there are different ways to approach things like that. But in the meantime, today I'm focusing on if you are in a family situation whereby you see your parents constantly fighting, your mom may be verbally abusive to you, different things. Now, how can you stay sane? Now, family storms are one of the major causes of emotional instability in people, especially teenagers, young people. And unlike your friends, for instance, you have a friend that is toxic and a friend that's annoying. It's easy for you to cut off away from that friend, distance yourself. But you cannot do that for your family because you did not choose your family. So how can you stay sane? Especially because you are young and you may not have the resources to say, I want to leave the house. I want to go get my own apartment and all that. So what exactly can you do if you find yourself in a turbulent family situation? I have 6 points here, but please, these points are not in any way exhaustive of all the things you can do. But for me, they are really major and they are important. The first point is that you should stop self-blame. Now, I've met a couple of young people who blame themselves for the issues that their parents are having. And it could be the fact that, let's say your parents are always fighting because your school fees is too expensive, or you're probably sick, and maybe one parent thinks that they're spending too much money on you. But please note that none of it is your fault. You did not ask for your parents to give birth to you. Some years ago, they loved each other, and then you came about. So it's not your fault that you were born. So please do not take the blame for whatever it is that is going on. That's one way that you can help your mind. That's one way to gain emotional stability. It's not your fault. And this brings me to my second point. Know that your parents are adults with choices. Every individual has a choice to keep quiet or escalate things. Your parents have the choice to do whatever it is that they want to do. You cannot control their actions. Whatever is going on within them is something that, they want to do. And some years back, it may not have been this way. Do you understand? Some years back, it may not have been this way. I'm sure there was probably a time that they fell in love with each other. Things were rosy. But somewhere along the line, they may have lost sight of the important ingredients that make a marriage work. And so that's why you find them constantly fighting, not being able to ignore one person, not trying to be a bigger party and let things go. And I know that those kind of things can be really draining. Trust me, I know what it is. I know what it is to be in that situation. But please note that your parents still have the choice to do whatever it is they want to do. And for you, you are your own individual. And so please, you have to resolve that you're going to allow your parents live the choices that they are making for themselves. This brings me to my third point. Never take sides. My Lord, this is so important. Now, when parents are having issues, most times, especially when the child is a teenager, like old enough to know things, most times they try to come tell that child what's happening because they are trying to gain the affection of the child, especially in the case whereby they would eventually divorce and all that. But there is no reaction that wasn't caused by an action, and there's really no smoke without fire. Something triggered whatever is going on within them. And so once one person comes to you, the person may just be telling you only a side of their story. They may not tell you the part that they have, the part that they have played in making the situation what it is today. Now, why one party or why one parent may really be mean and exaggerating things, but most times there's an imbalance somewhere. And so please, I beg you, don't take sides. Both parents gave birth to you, and God would expect that you honor them irrespective of whatever. But however, if you are in a situation where one parent is physically abusive, like there's a physical assault, life-threatening, I beg you, do not keep quiet and do not take laws into your hands. If it's something that you have seen before, especially if one party is being suppressed, I mean really suppressed, because we've had cases like that where there's a teenager in a situation where it's like it was life and death for one party. So please, you will need to speak out to the appropriate authority. If you are in a school, speak to your school counselor. The school counselor would have links with people, with the law that can help intervene, because life is at stake there. In case you don't know who to talk to, you can always, my email address is, and you can send me a mail and we'll see how we can help you, because your life matters. So that is the only exception when it has to do with, then you know that there is a physical abuse going on. So that way is now the law that would come to play. But aside that, know that each parent may want to try and gain your sympathy by telling you things that would buy your affection. But please don't be carried away with all that. I know one time I knew of one girl, there's a time there's one teenager back then I knew that, because she had issues with both parents, and in fact they were not literally talking to each other, so she used it to her advantage of, she would claim that, she loves this parent, and then this parent would buy her stuff. The same parent would buy her, she would maybe tell her dad, or her dad would buy her this, her mom would buy her this. This person is an adult now though, just because they wanted to gain the affection of that particular child, and so she used it to her advantage. But don't do that, it's not really the best. Then my fourth point is, you should be compassionate. And I know you'll be like, Aunty Joy, what do you mean compassionate? My dad is annoying, my mom is too abusive, this and that. But I want you to sit down and think about this. Once I was talking to a boy, and he was complaining about how he feels his dad hates him, his dad is always insulting him, his dad never sees anything good in him. And then I just asked him a question. I said, what's the relationship between your father and your grandfather, which is your father's father? And he said they have a strained relationship, that he knew that his grandfather wasn't there for his dad. His grandfather was hardly around. His grandfather was abusive. And then I told him, do you see now that your dad is replicating what he saw growing up? Because to your dad, as much as he hated what your grandfather was doing to him, somewhere in his subconscious, those things were being registered in his mind. Those are the patterns of fatherhood that he has formed. That is why he's displaying it to you. Now, he may have hated those things. He may have said that, when I have my own children, I'm not going to do this to them. But if a person does not deliberately learn about parenting, learn about marriage, they will repeat the same patterns that they have seen, because somewhere in our minds, your mind is a very powerful tool. Your mind is built to act out what has been implanted in it. So be compassionate. Most times our parents do not know, and some of them back then, they may not even have attended marriage counseling. Imagine how well they do in their career. They went to schools, they took certificates, they studied for them to be successful in their career. But some people do not think that it's important that before you get married, you should actually study about marriage. And so for some, they didn't know about how effective communication affects marriage. They didn't know about how forgiveness. They didn't know about how all these things will come to play. And that's why they do not display it. And so I beg you, just rather than getting angry with them, look upon them with compassion. And then this will bring me to my fifth point. Your life outcome is your responsibility. Now, because of what I've seen a number of young people who have told me, Aunty Joy, I'm not getting married. Aunty Joy, marriage is not for me. Aunty Joy, men are terrible. Aunty Joy, this woman is too. They have formed different perceptions based on what they saw growing up. But I want to tell you, see, that your parents' marriage was messed up does not mean you would have a messed up marriage when the time comes. I beg you, do not hate marriage. Marriage is a very beautiful thing. As much as your parents' marriage may not be working, there are other marriages out there that are really working. And trust me, you can have a beautiful marriage. It's all boils down to how well you prepare yourself for it. Just like right now, you're currently in school, studying on how to be a doctor, a lawyer, a photographer, whatever it is. You're taking time to study. So also it is that, you should actually learn about marriage, learn about, in fact, you first start with friendships. What exactly makes a friendship work? Because the truth is, marriage is about friendship. Marriage is communication. Marriage is forgiveness. There are a lot of things that makes marriage work. It's not just a dumb thing you just enter to, just like they said, I'm feeling something dumb to do, I think I want to marry. No, marriage is not a dumb thing you just enter. It's something that you plan deliberately for. You study for it. It's an institution that you never graduate from. And so you must be deliberate to know about it. We're not too young to start knowing these things, how friendships work, how all these things work. And so it's important that you do that. Okay? And so the final point I have for you is pray. Now, I know the last thing you want to do is pray for your parents. But trust me, they need your prayer. Especially if they are Christians. I've seen people that say, oh, my dad is a Christian, my mom is a Christian. They are not acting like Christians. They are not acting like Christians because they have not allowed the word of God to dwell in their hearts. And so that is one thing that you should put in prayer. You say, Father, let the reality of your word be embedded in their heart. Trust me, a person that is walking by the reality of God's word would not treat their spouse anyhow. If your dad has come to embrace what Christ has said, that you love your wife just like he loves this church, he won't treat your mom anyhow. And if your mom understands that you submit, she won't act anyhow to your dad. So pray for them that the words of the Bible would become real in them. Only because the truth is you cannot change a person, but you can pray change on a person. So once that thing becomes a reality, you will see that they will change in their own life. I hope this helped you. You can, in case there's something that I didn't say that has been helpful, if you have found yourself in that situation, or someone who has been in this situation, you can drop it in the comment section below. You can ask me questions, you can send me an email, and if in case you are in a difficult situation in your family, I'll be praying for you. Know that please, you can have a good marriage. Please, you will not remain there forever. So God bless you. You're already blessed, and I'll see you next time.